Hi, this is Dr. Thomas Rocco from CBD Health Podcast. Today's guest is Kyle Jones. Kyle Jones is part of futurecompounds.com. Very interesting conversation today. I learned something, you'll learn something. It's a really great website that has great cannabinoid isolates that are available for not only wholesale, for the public. Please stay tuned and listen to this interesting conversation. Kyle, thanks for the time today to speak with me on CBD Health Podcast. Thanks for meeting with me this morning. This is awesome. You're out in California, right?
Las Vegas, actually.
Las Vegas. I'm sorry, Las Vegas. That's why I thought you were definitely a different time zone than where I am.
Yes.
So it's called futurecompounds.com. And you're
correct. That's the website. Yeah.
Right. And it's so Las Vegas. Great.
Mm-hmm. Where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Rhode Island. I'm a physician surgeon in Rhode Island, and I've done this CBD Health Podcast for a couple of years. It's kind of fun learning different things. The more you talk to people, the more you learn, the more you disseminate good information. And I'm so happy you contacted me to talk about some of the products. Now, how long you guys been in business?
Future Compounds from inception is near 2 years. It is a piggyback off two other companies that we've started in the cannabis space. The original one is future4200.com, which is an open source forum that's completely free, all based around cannabis extraction. Are you familiar with Reddit?
Yes, I've heard of Reddit.
It's Future 4200 is essentially the Reddit of cannabis extraction. It's just an open source where people can chat, converse, put files and SOPs in there. And it is definitely like Reddit in the sense where you have to disseminate what is good information versus bad information.
Right.
But everything is in there. So
just search Future 420. That's it.
Future 4200. So 4200. 40.com.
That's it. Future4200.com. And then you can start talking to other people. I mean, that's the key with all of this.
Yeah.
It's
an amazing resource. There's a lot of brilliant, amazing people. And essentially it's like people that are in the field consistently. So you can stay up to date because it's mainly the technician that's, at the lab, just figured something out or is trying to figure something out. And they're conversing with each other. And that's, pretty much anything that goes mainstream starts on the forum probably a year before that, because that's where the frontline individuals are talking,
Right.
So that's the impact of it. So we started with that. We did not want to monetize that and just kind of keep it in this, virgin state, this like clarity state. So then we started Good Life Gang, which our motto is level up together. So that's goodlifegang.tech. And really what that is, it's a monetized version of that, where if you're a business owner in cannabis extraction, if you're a career extractor, and now this is how you provide for your family, Good Life Gang is that. It's networking events, it's exclusive SOPs, it's discounts to pretty much any equipment manufacturer in the extraction space is our direct affiliate, and you get like super discounts to that. So Good Life Gang, again, is just, it's the sister company that's been monetized of this amazing forum. So then that leads us into what is Future Compounds.
Right.
Well, being thought leaders in the space, I hate to say that, having a reputation in the space for providing clarity and being transparent about extraction and methods and things like that, everyone always said, we need products from you. We need input ingredients from you. We trust your, we trust your efficacy. So that's where Future Compounds came from, is people really, truly wanting an efficacious, transparent source for input ingredients and branded products.
So it sounds like you started a forum to kind of help people understand about doing this correctly. And you did it so well, it almost forced you to start a company to start making it. That's how, you started really at truly the ground level in just communicating with other people.
Correct. Yes. And So before the forum, what sparked the forum is myself and my partner, Dustin, we were consulting at the time. We were, I'm a decade into the cannabis space at this point, moved to Colorado on inception of legal cannabis, and, moved to Oregon for many years. So traveled with the system of cannabis as it became more open and more safe. And, essentially, I'm a very hardworking person. So me and Dustin drove information as much as we could possibly learn and just started writing SOPs. Right. And it's something that the cannabis space didn't have. It was a very gray, take you under my wing in the dark of the mountain kind of thing and teach you some techniques, where we took more of a pharmaceutical clinician type approach, where you have a standard operating procedure, you have logs for your processes, you run a CGMP style format, you would train your staff in a such manner. So, we ended up becoming very high level consultants pretty fast, all the way from, mom and pops that need to cut the bullshit and just get to success. And then also like the big MSOs like the Curaleaf, GTI, we've consulted, developed products and trained employees for, the largest corporations in the space. So before starting the forum, we already had a reputation for being very professional, transparent, experienced individuals.
Right. That's it's so important. Like for me, I'm a physician. I always say this, didn't learn anything about cannabis in medical school. And I got involved in 2011, and that was about just helping people find the appropriate patients to get medical marijuana license in Rhode Island with the Department of Health. And I got into CBD 3 years ago, but essentially we started this little website. It was not so much about products, it was about trusting somebody to talk to a physician who had some experience just to kind of give you the right direction. And you've done the same thing prior to even getting into a company making CBD. And that's you probably have so many people that trust your information. Just looking at the website, the certificate analysis to me is the most important thing. If you don't have that, I wouldn't buy anything from anybody without that shows exactly what's in their product, because it's so important. And that's really, really important, at least for me, when people ask about what we sell, but more along the lines of when they get it, what's the most important thing. And that's really important, knowing what's in it and how up to date is that COA. That certificate, like it can't, if it's from 6 years ago, it doesn't mean anything. So you're doing all that stuff. So in terms of that, now you have this company, right? You have this company. Do you make the CBD in Las Vegas, or is it somewhere else?
It is somewhere else. So to tap back into your last statement of transparency, batch testing, and really just kind of product transparency, right? And input ingredients to finished products. All we did was mimic our licensed THC structures, really being intertwined into the licensed THC market in Las Vegas, which is ran by the gaming board. So best believe it is as tight as can possibly be, right? There's not a penny or a leaf that goes unturned. So we just mimicked that style of transparency and traceability and put it in a CBD, which really no one has done and still nobody is doing. And that just was naturally how we operate. So, so back to your question, no, we don't extract. So the extractable compounds, the CBD and the CBG, those are compounds that are extracted from large amounts of biomass. Those aren't converted. They're not a chemical synthesis. So here in Las Vegas, it's just not efficacious to fly in or ship, thousands upon thousands of pounds of biomass to extract here, when you can do that with like our partners in Oregon and North Carolina. So we have, for our extractable compounds, 2 partners that produce isolates up to our spec, which they classify as their super isolates for future compounds. And then we in turn call it ultra refined. And what that is they had developed a section or a wing of their extraction facility that actually operated under the SOPs that we had written and consulted on the lab that we actually structured the build on, and then train the staff ourselves. So, essentially we have a partnership with 2, high level extraction facilities that meet the standards and spec that we originally created.
That's great. That's
Mhm.
one. So the
Then we
companies go.
trace that. Yeah, then we trace that all the way into our finished product. So we do batch testing.
So do you sell, like, do you distribute to other companies or do you have your own store? How does it, I know you have the website. The website's great. It has all
Mhm.
the information you need, but is that mainly where you sell your products is through website or are you reaching out to other dispensaries and companies?
Interesting. So originally, being, we're more technicians, I would say,
Mhm.
rather than branding
Right.
individuals, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
originally, we started Future Compounds as a wholesale manufacturer of very rare minor cannabinoids. That's where our skills lie. We were organic chemists, have teams of organic chemists. So we
Right.
started in that space. That space, since there is no regulation, and it is such a crazy field. You're talking about organic chemistry, which I'm sure
Mhm.
you're very aware
A
of.
little bit,
That,
yes.
that's a space that needs the utmost regulation,
Mhm.
right? We're
Right.
dealing with reagents that are
Mhm.
harmful. We're dealing with side reactions and byproducts that are harmful. So we originally produced probably the most pure CBN or cannabinol, which is the degradate of THC. We
Mhm.
produced probably the purest CBN that the market's ever seen.
Mhm.
Those kilos were originally selling at 7,000 a kilo when we started business, and
Mhm.
in 6 months went down to 3,000 or 2,500 if you buy in like a mass bulk amount.
Mhm.
So that was from a business standpoint, just not stable,
Right.
right?
Right.
so
Right.
so that, and then now segue forward, it's actually a very scary space because you have branded companies that will take essentially any two molecules. Say you have this CBD with this reagent creates this compound.
Right.
It's never actually been made, but since there's no testing standard, no certified reference material,
Right.
we're now going to put this name, this THC JD, whatever, or THC OPQ on our
Right.
packaging, and
Right.
it's just not in there
Mhm.
because there's no certified reference material for it.
Right.
So we just, again, another reason why we stepped out of the minor cannabinoid manufacturing for so many reasons and said, we're going to go back to the basics of safe CBD, CBG, and CBN from a reputable source, batch test, then make an efficacious product.
Right.
Then that led to what's the right dose for an efficacious product. And that's where it gets interesting.
Right, right. No, I went through the website. There's so many things I like about it. Again, I talked about the certificate analysis with all the products, but what you're doing is something that I thought was going to come to the future. And that's, we've talked about CBD for years, CBDs, but like you said, there's other cannabinoids. CBG and CBN are just as important. Like CBG is really good for inflammation. It's good
Mm-hmm.
for pain symptoms. And you're isolating this already. And I think at some point in our life, like, and you're doing it already, like, I'm not getting CBD. I'm going to buy CBG because I really need it for inflammatory issues. And CBN is perfect for sleep and insomnia issues and relaxation. And again, you're already doing that. You're already isolating it, and you're doing it, like you said, in really refined ways where you're getting this product much cheaper than I've ever seen before. That's the amazing thing. You're isolating it, and you're taking. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be, you're going to go in the store. I want CBN. I want CBN capsules because I need it for sleep, and you're already doing that. And this is what the future is right now. It's not all about CBD. It's all the other cannabinoids that are just as good.
Absolutely. And just to give you some cool, interesting facts about CBN, so Salk Institute, which I'm sure you're aware of, very
Yep.
reputable research
Yes.
firm,
Absolutely.
they identified that CBN actually strengthens the mitochondria within
Mm.
cells and can protect dying and aging brain cells. So
Really?
which could possibly be used as a medication, for any neurological disease like
Right.
ALS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. That's huge, and
Huge.
that's huge, right? I mean, just absolutely monstrous. Then I think it was InMed, so INMED, InMed, and Bay Medica. They conducted product research specifically around CBN out of the main cannabinoids, CBD, CBG, CBN. CBN had the greatest reduction in interocular pressure. So for glaucoma,
Right.
it's not just weed.
Right.
CBN
Yeah.
actually had the greatest reduction.
Right.
And then also, since CBN has the ability to protect mitochondria and protect, cell damage, they thought that would be good to use for skin disease. So for a very rare skin disease, EB, I won't try and pronounce it. EB is a very rare skin disease that happens in children and babies, and it's very sad to see. They use CBN to create a skin cream for that, and it worked. They're now into phase 2 clinical trials. So all these compounds have such immense properties that are valuable, which we are now able to start researching. And being at an isolated form, that's where you have to be, right? You can't be at a full spectrum amount to make an efficacious research study.
Right.
So
I agree.
then you do have to think about the entourage effect, though, as our endocannabinoid system is a system in a whole. It's an engine. Our engine won't run without gas, but it also won't run without oil, and it won't connect to the tires without a transmission.
Right.
I would say cannabinoids are exactly the same. One study that we just kind of small ran here, typed up a little white paper, is CBN by itself for sleep was not as efficacious. It was like 15 or 12. It's like 12 or 13% actually had the 12 or 13% efficaciousness if on its own, if we combined it with the THC, whether it was Delta 8 or Delta 9, it was much more effective. So that entourage effect is important. So we take the isolated cannabinoids, and then now we know our ingredients are safe, right? They're 99%. They've been tested, full panel. They're traced all the way through. Then to give people a real strong, safe product, we then mimic what a broad spectrum or a full spectrum product might look like, and try and match those ratios a little bit, but with isolated compounds.
Right. I mean, so if you did, what I always talk about, full spectrum products right now, it's always about CBD and that small percentage of THC. You're doing the same thing. I think if you had a CBN product that was full spectrum, it's not getting, again, people might hear THC, you're not getting high from this. It's just making the CBD work better.
Yeah.
That effect, that I call it the synergistic, like you said, entourage effect, where it's going to work better. And I have not, I look, but I have never seen a full spectrum CBN product.
Right.
That would be a phenomenal product, but we're going to get there. I mean, and that's like you offer these great products, and it looks like to me, like I'm looking through the website, you can buy isolates, purified isolates. Now, I'm assuming the person who's buying this are they using it to make other products, or are they using it to use it as a personal use?
Both. So that's what I love about how our website has become pretty much a hub for the experienced user looking for a therapy to build, whether they build it themselves by buying the raw isolate and being able to trust that that isolate is actually clean, and then making a product for themselves or a loved one, or companies purchasing wholesale ingredients from us. So to answer your question, we do wholesale. We're not the cheapest, we're not the most expensive, but we do wholesale. So on our website, it is driven for the person that wants to design their own therapy, like your example, right? With a high CBN product and low THC, well, I can't sell you a high, even a low amount of THC in a product as a hemp company. So I have to be below that 0.3% threshold for THC. So, so yes, our website sells bulk isolates as well as branded finished products, so people can kind of pick what they want. Do they want to have something that's ready to go and done and higher dose than anyone else? Or do you want an isolate and want to craft your own therapy because you have a specific need, physically?
Right. It looks like you offer both. It seems like the powder, right? The CBD powder, and also as an oil.
Correct.
Right. And the oil, like it sounds like you use the oil for like cooking and baking and topical applications. But again, this is what's amazing is, I'm going to, for instance, we sell, a 30 milligram capsule. There's 30 in it, and it's 900 milligrams, right? 900 milligrams. You're selling things by grams, which is so much, you get so much more for what you're buying. Like you're selling things, and it's amazing how much, you buy coconut oil, it's not 100 milligrams, it's 100 grams, which is 100,000 milligrams. You're getting so much more than what you usually would get at certain other websites or other companies. So everything here is really ultra refined, and it's a higher dose, which is really nice. Like, I love the gummies are that you offer are, it seems like it's like 50 milligrams of CBD and CBG. So you really
Yeah,
get like 100 milligrams in every single gummy. And
correct.
just the whole bottle's, 3 grams or 3,000 milligrams. And you can get the
Correct.
combination of CBD and CBG, or just CBD, or you have one with all of them, CBD, CBG, and CBN. So
Correct.
I,
Yeah.
I feel like you have what I see on the websites and talking to people, the things are much more concentrated, and you're going to get a better effect with that. I mean, like, to me, it's very dose dependent on what you're looking for. It's not
Yeah.
one gummy is good for everything. It's very different.
Yeah.
So it's really, I mean, the website's great. Because it looks like you're looking to sell it to people that are looking to make something different
Yeah.
with the product, or you're buying it to use it themselves. And I
Yeah.
think it's
So
I think it's affordable for what you're offering, to be honest with the experience I have with selling it and looking at other companies.
thank you. So what we did with our pricing, it was pretty simple. We just, CBD is so cheap now. CBG is so cheap.
Mhm.
It's just not that expensive. So, where these companies, man, all these companies, they are just putting on what we like to call the green tax,
Yeah,
where,
right.
they're getting a 10, 20, 30, 50x margin, and
Mhm.
that's just absurd. So what we did with dosing is we looked at the clinical research that's been proven and dosed our products like that first and foremost, then decided, okay, how do we make this fair? And screw fair, how do we make this actually affordable so someone could consume this on a
Right.
monthly basis?
Right. I agree.
It's
I
not a
agree.
one-time purchase. I don't
Right.
want to just make and sell a single product. I'll go sell tires or t-shirts. I want to design therapies for people to
Right.
actually impact their life and have a better quality of life. So
Right.
the analogy I like to use when it comes to our dosing is, think if you have a migraine, let's say ibuprofen and acetaminophen. If you have a migraine, how much would you prescribe? What milligram would you prescribe?
I would at least start with 600 milligrams of ibuprofen,
Okay.
500 to 1,000 of Tylenol. It depends on what the person likes, just to start, but you might need higher in multiple doses.
Okay. So now, absolutely agreed, and we all know that. But imagine every single doctor was actually only prescribing 20 or 30 milligrams of ibuprofen or acetaminophen.
Right.
It would not work. Patients would
Excellent.
still be in pain. And now doctors would write off ibuprofen, they would write off acetaminophen, and so would the patients.
Right.
Essentially, that's my analogy for where the CBD space is. The
Mhm.
clinical research states, so this is the best analogy that I give every time.
Mhm.
Epidolax. Do you know what Epidolax is?
Right. I do.
Okay. Epidolax is the only FDA
Right.
approved
Yep.
CBD oil for seizures.
Right.
Their dosing strategy and structure is 750 milligrams once or twice a day.
Right.
So that is much more, let's say that's 1,500 milligrams. That is what most companies sell as their entire tincture bottle for
Right.
$200.
That's exactly right. I agree. Yes.
How can you
Crazy.
do that every month? You can't.
You can't. You can't.
So to get an efficacious dose, you just can't. So
Right.
we needed to provide that for people, and that's what the coconut oil is. That's where
Right.
the hundred
Right.
thousand milligrams
Right.
for only $100 is a year's worth of 450 milligram doses. It's 260 days worth of a 450
Right.
milligram dose.
And that's affordable. That is the problem. Like, the people that use the CBD that I offer, I would say most of my patients, they say it works, they just can't afford it. And we try to bring it as low down as we can in terms of the pricing, depending on, again, I'm the middle person. I'm buying it from a company and you're reselling it. But that is the problem. It's the insurance doesn't cover it, and they can't afford it. And this, like you said, this is about a year's worth of medication, and that's affordable. That's
For a
definitely affordable.
$100.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
$100.
You
No
know, you
kidding.
split it up. That's $10 a month. That's like
Right,
what you would possibly pay for a prescription with insurance on a
right,
monthly basis. Let's
right,
say $5 to $10. I'd say
right.
that'd be
A copay.
an average price with
Right.
insurance on a medication.
And that's what this has to become. I totally agree with you 100%. That's what, when you look at how they make CBD, I mean, there is a process to it. I kind of get the how much it costs to make it with the harvesting, drying, and everything else, all the steps to it. But like you said, like if I'm sure as we're learning better about how to grow and harvest it, it should get cheaper. And that if we got it cheaper, then we can get it to the patients and they'll take it more often and can afford it. That is the problem, especially now with the economics, what's going on in this country. People
Yeah.
can't afford gas in their car, so
Yeah.
I totally understand, and we try so hard to help people, but that's what's so nice about this company, looking at how much you can get for the amount of money you're spending, and it can you $100, $200 for a year. People would be willing to do that if it's helping them.
Yeah. And you know, you you're a clinician, you're a doctor. You're No matter what you do in a day, it has to be based on good intentions. Your
Right.
decisions have to be made based on, can I truly help this person with the statement, procedure, routine that I'm about to advise? They're trusting me to advise them on their health. You
Right.
have to have good intentions in that. If you don't, you can really, really hurt people. And for us, that's all we did with our company, is we just based our company off good intentions and providing something that's actually efficacious. Rather than focusing on the margin first, product second, we focused on product and efficacious first, margin second.
Right.
And you know, my motto is, you know, you build something good, you inject it with intention. Money is just a byproduct of creating something good.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Well, you
and
guys are
I
doing a
think
great
that's,
job.
yeah,
How
I
is
think
the
that's
company
what's
doing? Are
led.
you doing well? Are you reaching out to more and more people because of the things that you're doing?
Yeah, so it's great. So my business partner is Aaron Walden. He was the commercial general manager for Green Thumb Industries. They're about the second or third, they always flip flop, third largest cannabis MSO in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He is a absolute savant in a respectful way when it comes to team building and servant leadership. He is my business partner on this. So he is now hitting the ground. We are building teams. We're now going to scream this from the rooftops and get this to as many people as possible. Transparently, we're a small team. We're a 3-person team in-house, a 6-person team outside at one facility, and then our partnerships with other facilities. Right. So, you know, again, we're organic, we're humble and small. We didn't take any debt. We didn't take on any investments. We wanted to be able to make the decisions to truly help individuals how we want to, rather than having to be driven to focus on what is the margin, projection, revenue, et cetera. Right. And all that happens when you put the money first and allow someone to control that. So
that's the way you do it. That's the way.
So business is going good.
Good.
It's growing. And honestly, it just comes down to consumer education, just educating consumers about, hey, the 20 milligrams is actually not doing anything, and what you're getting is the placebo effect, and some possible just, you know, like microdosing, I'd call it, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So we have a big consumer education hurdle, but I think with CBD, people are more open to hearing about it. There actually is much more clinical research, and you know, you could take as much CBD as you want, and you're not going to die. You're not going to overdose. You're just going to sleep. So it's a great a great stage for us to start to open the minds of individuals to really what cannabis can do and what are efficacious doses and products, you know, really designed and look
right. That's so important. I totally agree with that, because back to THC, people that use marijuana or use edibles always say, you know, don't take more than 2.5, 5 milligrams if it's a THC product to start, if you've never done it before. But CBD dosing is different. Sometimes they get it confused on they get to start at the same level, 2.5 and 5 milligrams of CBD. that's not going to do anything. You have to get the right dose for what you're looking for. But you guys started perfectly with education first, getting a platform, on the internet and having your two websites, and then getting people to trust you, and then going above and beyond and getting into the industry by doing it correctly. And the prices are great. And I love that you have the isolates, and you've already refined three cannabinoids that are so important, not only CBD, but CBG and CBN. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is the way it's going. Like, the future has a lot of good things. Like, you're literally going to go to see somebody and you're going to buy like that specific CBD, cannabinoid that's going to help you. If it's
Right.
THC, if it's, and all the other, cannabis, it's amazing. And I've seen so many good things from it. And even just doing licensing for medical marijuana and THC, and most of the people use it for pain, and they're not on narcotics. I mean, that's such a win-win. And
It's huge.
CBD works just as well. There's some people just taking CBD, forget the THC, and it's working. So you're doing a good job. But
Yeah.
so again, it's futurecompounds.com.
Yep.
I looked through the website's great. Like you said, you have all your certificate analysis.
Mhm.
It's really, I mean, I think it's relatively cheap to what I've ever seen in terms of buying. But for a consumer, the best thing to do is, I think the gummies would be the easiest things for people,
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
anything else. I think the oil is more for people that are looking to bake, and they kind of know a little bit more about CBD than the normal person.
So the gummies are just a user-friendly product.
Right,
You can
right,
bring it with you.
right.
And so there are two major differences. The coconut oil, and actually, so most people who buy the coconut oil don't really cook with it. They do just ingest it.
Really do.
So
Okay.
they do, yeah. And why we did it in coconut oil is we just wanted the absolute cleanest, most organic carrier oil for a possible consumption method without putting in flavoring and diluting it with anything else, right?
Right.
So the coconut oil is for the person that has a true medical condition and needs 450, 1,000,
Right.
1,300 milligrams a day and doesn't want to break the bank. That's what that product is. We can offer it so cheap because it's just not complex. It's
Right.
just organic coconut oil, which is cheap. We get it from the cleanest distributor we can find in the Philippines, where coconut oil is essentially distributed from, and then the most pure isolate. So it's just a simple but the strongest, most affordable product. So that's for your medical condition,
Right.
person with a medical condition that needs real strong relief. That's what that's for. And then you have the gummies, which is a more complex product to make, more expensive product to make, and is a lower starting dose, like 100 milligrams, which is like your average. Like
Right.
for me, I take one or two gummies, one when I get home. I still want to be able to be active with my children, so I don't want to be zonked out. I'll take 100 milligrams, and then maybe another one before sleep or something like that. So, that's what those doses are for. Then what, we are not slow moving, but very thorough with what we do because we have so many eyes on our community. If we put out a shit product or something that's not thought out, it's really damaging. As well as, I don't want to put out a shit product.
Right.
So the next thing we're doing is a tincture line, which we're actually releasing this week.
Oh, great.
And so our
I didn't
tincture,
see that on the website.
correct. It's we're launching it this week, and it is 25,000 milligrams in a 4-ounce bottle. So essentially, so essentially 200 milligrams per just one single ml or one dropper.
Wow.
So that's like your middle stages. You got your
Right.
gummies that are
Yeah.
easy. It's the
Right.
starting kit. Then you have your tincture, which is like, okay, I know I want CBD. I want to continue to take it. I want a little bit of a higher dose, but I don't need 1,000 milligrams a day. And then here's the coconut oil. And the coconut oil is essentially a loss leader for us.
Right.
We don't really make money on that. And that was the goal of that. The goal was to truly provide a medicine to our community because we're from the community. So we had to give something back. That's what the coconut oil is.
Right.
So,
but I think as people use it and understand it, they're going to go to the coconut oil because it's probably, and it's really cheap. That's, when you got to figure it out, and then you go to the coconut oil. Now, all your products, again, are all isolates.
Yes.
Right. which
Yep.
to me
Isolated
is
CBD.
important because especially when people are when people are have drug testing still, if it's a CDL license or a federal job or captain's license, it is important to know that you're using isolate because those full spectrums with THC, you could be positive on a drug test. And I've seen a couple of different studies, but there was one really good study where they took a whole bunch of healthy individuals. They used it every day for 30 days,
Mm.
full spectrum, and about 50% of the people
Yeah.
came positive. So I do know of a friend who lost his job because of CBD use with full spectrum and was positive. But that's another nice thing about this is like nobody has to be concerned about any drug testing using these products at
Yeah.
all.
That was the main, that was, you nailed it. That was the main intent for why we use isolate. And it's just only slightly more expensive. If you were
Right.
to buy full spectrum distillate and then buy isolate, it's still relatively close to the same price. So from a business standpoint, to provide absolute transparency that it is, essentially a pharmaceutical grade compound. If you were to take any compound in the pharmaceutical setting, all the FDA states is that it has to be 98% plus.
Right.
So, we're already selling pharmaceutical grade, quote unquote, isolates, and then putting those into the product. So that's again back to transparency and integrity.
Right.
That's why the products are designed that way. They're fully traceable from manufacturer all the way through us into a track and trace, program.
Right.
Full panel tested. We full panel test the input ingredients, actually the hemp plant itself, then the crude oil, then the distillate, then the isolate. That comes to us. Then we do our formulation. We have full traceability from
Right.
seed
Nice.
to finished product.
Yeah. Very
So
trusted product.
yeah, I built a product that I would want to
Right.
consume if
Right.
I had a
That's
health
important.
condition,
Right. That's important.
and
Very
that's
important.
all we did. So, an interesting thing, kind of off topic, but since we're talking about drug testing,
Mhm.
I am actually doing a guinea pig human trial on myself right now. So I don't consume any THC anymore. When I had my second child, I was just it was so much. So I stopped smoking THC and just tried to hone in. Then when I started trying to smoke again, it was too psychoactive for me. So long story short, I don't consume THC, and all I take is our products. So CBD, CBG, CBN. I know that our isolates are as pure as it can get. I
Right.
know that myself. I know that I'm running a test on myself, and I know that they are as pure as can get. Then I saw an article that said CBN, being a derivative of THC,
Right.
could cause a false positive on a urine analysis for THC. So I'm like, I gotta try this. So I went to my healthcare provider, sorry, I went to my physician and I said, "Yo, drug test me." And he's like, "What? Why?" I was like, "Please, I want a regular checkup, but the goal is because I want a drug test." He's like, "All right, sure, whatever." So I got like a 19 or 16 or 19 panel drug test, and I actually did fail for THC.
You did.
I did twice.
Wow. That's good to
Yep.
know. I did not know that.
So, and I'm now going into like the second phase of what I would call my own personal, human trial and writing a white paper on it. And if this next phase of what I'm trying, if I do fail again, then I'm actually going to bring this into the University of Maryland, and then we also work with Texas A&M University very,
Right.
very closely to really prove this, because that needs to be known. I care
Right.
about my consumers. I care about these individuals. Like my mother is a frontline nurse, 40 years. She's an admin at this point. If she were to lose her job
Right.
because a company is providing CBN, which is technically a hemp, it's weird. It's like a hemp product, but it's not. It's a THC degradate, so people are consuming CBN, and God forbid they fail a drug test. And like yourself, say you
Right.
were, if you didn't own your own practice and you worked for
Right.
a business and lost your job after 60 years or 50 years, holy crap, yeah. So that's just a very interesting thing, and I'm hoping to further that.
So that is no, but you just enlightened me on CBN. I did not know that. That is
Yeah.
a derivative of THC, and you could be positive. That is interesting.
Yeah, I'll email you. I'll email you the couple papers. It's actually been proven already. It shows up as a false positive. I can't remember what the metabolite was, but it metabolizes and does cause a false positive. Can cause a false positive, and for me twice. So I think it's efficacious.
No,
And it's something that needs to be known, and no
right,
one's talking about it.
right. So when
Yeah.
you talk about go back to CBN, this is you're taking the gummies, the CBN gummies
Yeah.
that you have here, and what milligram are you taking a day?
So I used to actually, once the Salk Institute study came out about CBN protecting, dying brain cells, that's when I started consuming a half gram to a gram of CBN every evening.
Right,
And I think that's initially what gave me the elevated levels to fail. So
right,
that's why in this second
right,
little study that I'm doing, I'm taking just our 3 compound gummies,
right,
which only has 10 milligrams of
right.
CBN, and I'm doing that once an evening for 60 days so that it's fully in my system.
That
There's
that that dose is much different between 10 milligrams
and
and
500.
between 500 to 1,000. So
Correct.
I
Yeah.
definitely want to I definitely want to hear your results because
Yeah.
that's I'm sure it'll be negative. That's
I hope so. I
right,
truly, truly hope so because we want to be able to provide people with CBN because sleep is such an issue in the
right,
world, specifically in the United States. And then CBN with all its neurological properties, it's such a valuable compound. So that's why this test is so important to me because CBN has so much value for the quality of life.
right, right. That's amazing. No, I actually want to look into the Salk Institute about, like you were saying, the neurological issues and how it's helping. And
I'll send you everything. Yeah.
yeah. All right. My personal email is trocco17 at AOL.com. Just
T
send me
Rocco
one,
17.
yep, at AOL.com.
Oh well, perfect. Yeah, I'll send you the
Yeah, send
Salk.
me that. I
I'll
definitely
send you
want
the
to see that.
Salk. I'll send you the InMed Bay Medica one around interocular pressure and skin
Right.
disease. And then I'll try and dig up that research about the CBN on the false positives. So
Wow. That's no, this is why it's nice. This is why I love doing podcasts. I learn
yeah,
so much from people because there's so much to learn about. We know such little about this, and it's very helpful. And every time I speak to somebody, it's something new.
yeah.
And for you, like your products are great, they're affordable, and I'm learning more stuff, which is even better. That's the
Well,
big
thank you.
thing here, disseminating the right stuff. So again, it's all for me too. It's about as a physician, I like to do it safely, the right dosing, and make it, easy for people to understand how to use it. And for me, like you're gonna talk to people that are gonna trust you. If they don't trust you, they're not gonna either try to, they're gonna do it incorrectly. That's the key.
Yeah, and with CBD, with cannabis as a whole,
Mhm.
as it's maturing, right? The revenue is there for the government to say let's keep this rocking, right? I think
Right, absolutely.
the financial incentive is there for pharma, for the Fed, for Wall Street, for pretty much all the people that are going to be able to make the decision whether cannabis stays, and obviously we think it's here to stay. So all of the people that are able to make the decision to keep it growing and progressing are most likely going to say yes because of the revenue incentive. So then it's up to us as a community and an industry right now to self-regulate
Right,
because it is a state by state thing when it
right.
comes to THC. And then when it comes to CBD, there is almost no regulation.
I
It
know.
is like it's like the supplement world where
Right,
I can literally mix anything in a garage, slap a label on it, and that's a product that now a human is consuming.
right.
That's very sketchy.
It is
Um,
very sketchy.
so we're just trying to provide
Right.
the transparency and efficacious testing, traceability, all that we do with THC. And we think that that's just going to, number one, help our company. And number two, help our industry.
Right.
If people can start to feel more like if
Comfortable.
for example, you had said about, individuals and their testimonies about once a week, we get a major testimony. Last week, it was an individual who had cirrhosis of the liver, needed to stop drinking, was in pain. They used our CBG, our 50/50 products
Right.
to not take pain medication.
Mhm.
And, huge, huge.
Right. Change
Week
their
or
life.
two, it's crazy. Then the week or two before that, this young woman, she was 20, had found they had found a cyst in her spine. And instead of taking high dose medications like morphine, Ativan, all those things, she also used cannabinoid therapies. Then you have another individual that is now over a year seizure free from high dose CBD. Right. So, you know, and this is a once a week, we have a major health
crazy, right? It's great.
That's, yeah, once a week. Then every single day, every day, 5 to 10 people say, my sprained ankle is better, my sleep is better, you know. And it's cool because we don't know these people. It'd be different if it was a friend. If you give a friend a product, they're always going to say it's great.
Right.
Hey, you know, it's a great product, but I appreciate, you know, it's, you always get that. But when it's a random person who you have no connection to, they're a first-time buyer, that testimony I trust.
Right.
Yeah. So,
and that's why you do it. And that's why you do it, because you're putting good product out there and you're helping people and you're getting this positive feedback. I mean, that's why I do it too. You know, as a physician and doing this and just kind of helping people out, educate them and get them in the right direction. So you guys are doing great. All right, Kyle, I got to go.
Yeah.
Thank you for the time. This was great. You taught me a lot. You got my email. Definitely let's keep in contact. I want to hear what happened with your next testing after changing the dose on the CBN.
Yeah, I'm going to write a little white paper. I'm literally tracking like my vitals and everything. So it'll be a cool little white paper for you. Awesome. And hey, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm honored. And it's actually really refreshing to speak to someone. Seem like you have a lot of integrity, and I value that. So let's definitely stay in contact.
Yeah, stay in contact, definitely. Yeah. All right, Kyle. Nice talking to you. Talk to you soon. Brother. Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.